Why do you think the NBA Finals ratings are down 68%? So that question was answered in a tweet by someone named Clay Travis. Clay Travis is a very conservative talk show host, gambling host, content provider, podcaster. He said the following. On Friday night, that's last Friday, the NBA had 4.5 million viewers for the finals, the least viewed NBA finals game in 40 years, down nearly 70% from game 2 last year. It was down 68%, which is nearly 70. Unless 70 is used to pass when you get your exams and you get a 68, then that's not anywhere near 70 because that's an F. The only pro sporting event the NBA was competing against was the Cardinals-Padres game. It's 100% the politics. Get woke, go broke. All right. We have a situation that needs to be addressed here. What Clay Travis is saying is that people are not watching basketball because of basketball embracing Black Lives Matter, because of mixing politics and sports. Shut up and dribble. Players are not shutting up, and they are not just dribbling. The expression we've used on Nothing Personal about waking up, being woke. I've used it. Being woke to me may mean something than what Travis referred to it as. Being woke to me is being self-aware, self-actualized, understanding the significance of the moment in history where we are, understanding your path in life, understanding what makes you happy. If you've been unhappy and you do something to get happy, does that make you woke? To me, it does. If you continue to do things in your life that make you unhappy, you're not woke. You may not be broke either, but you're still unhappy. If you're not trying to make the world a better place and leave a legacy for yourself, whether that legacy is through your children, whether that legacy is through your business, whether that legacy is through your alma mater, wherever your legacy is, you're trying to leave a legacy. Why? Because you want to be remembered as making a difference, as caring about something, caring about someone. For Travis to say that if you get woke, you go broke is ignoring both what woke is and ignoring the facts. The NBA is so far from broke that I'm trying to explain to Clay in easy financial terms that a sports talk show host and gambler would understand. Because my guess is Clay Travis has never run a team. My guess is he has no idea about the financials of a team. And if he does, come on, Nothing Personal, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about central revenue at the National Basketball Association. Let's talk about the impact. Let's talk about the impact that Daryl Morey's tweet on China had. Does that mean Daryl Morey was woke and he should have been woke because that means he's now broke? Okay, interesting. Defending people impacted the NBA and its relationship with China. Okay. Decisions need to be made by businesses. Are you going to take money from people whose beliefs you do not share in any way? I never ask people their political leanings when I'm trying to get them to buy tickets, when I'm trying to get them to be fans of the team. Don't care. Make sure your money's green. But here's what I won't do to you. I won't criticize you if you're red. I won't criticize you if you're blue. And I'm certainly not going to accuse you of ever going broke just because you decide that you're going to be woke. And to ignore the reality of the ratings decline in every other sport is disingenuous at best, and the problem with our political atmosphere currently as it exists. No one's listening to the other side. If you're red, you're red. If you're blue, you're blue, and you do not change. You don't need to watch a damn debate. Who are these undecideds? I can't find any of them. There are people who say, oh, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. Really? Really? But if you're trying to get undecideds to vote red, or are you just preaching to the choir, Clay? Because if you're trying to get undecideds to vote red, then you better explain why you think that if you're woke, you go broke. And explain to me why horse racing down, NHL crushed NFL ratings in the toity, MLB Some of their regional ratings were up. Some of them. MLB is pretty woke, by the way, for an industry like MLB, which spends a lot of time sleeping. You need to give your fan base, unless you don't want to, right? Do you know what confirmation bias is, Clay? Confirmation bias is when you see a tree fall down and you say, that's an area where I think a tree could fall down. Yeah, you're right, because a tree already fell down. When you're talking to people who already believe what you're saying and already know what you're saying is true in their minds, then what are you doing? That's the expression, preaching to the choir. Preachers never preach to the choir. If you're in the choir, by definition, you're in the chapel. You're already there. You're preaching to the audience so they can preach to the people who wouldn't come into the audience and into the congregation. So I knew this would get a lot of attention. Your question specifically was about the NBA Finals and why the ratings are down 68%. The reason is we have changed during the time of COVID. All ratings are down everywhere. It's different how it's measured, but it's different our viewing habits. We got to live without sports for a period of 6 months. And when it came back so much at once. This is the equivalent. For those of you who fast on Yom Kippur, for those of you who go on interim fasts, not for religious reasons, just because you're trying to lose weight. What's the reason why people who fast don't lose weight? It's that when it comes time to eat, they gorge themselves, they get a stomach ache. You know what they don't show you on Survivor, by the way, Coca? When you get a reward challenge and you get all that food and you haven't been eating any food, of course, I wasn't on the island long enough to get any food at all. I didn't eat for 3 days and lost 8 pounds, 7, 8, or 9 pounds. But when you don't eat for 10 days, 12 days, except rice and coconut, and then all of a sudden you get a reward challenge of pizza or other such food, you eat it so quickly and so much of it that you then vomit and you get the crappus. You have to do the aqua dumps on Survivor immediately. I've spoken to so many players who were okay not winning the reward challenges because you can't stop eating. You're so hungry. That's what happens after Yom Kippur. That's why you're supposed to eat bagels and something light like a little tuna, a little schmear. But instead, I go for the roast beef sandwich times 2, plus a bagel, cream cheese, and Nova. And all of a sudden, I have a distended stomach. My stomach hurts, and I'm crushed. That's what happened with sports. When everything came back, it was so much. Our brains couldn't handle it. I'm telling you, today we've got 4 playoff games in Major League Baseball. I don't know how to handle it. It's too much. That's why ratings are down. But Clay Travis would have you think it's because the National Basketball Association is trying to be socially conscious. So on Twitter, there is a bunch of arguing. I don't understand, Coca, what Twitter arguing is. If I have a problem with a writer of an article, let's say, the majority of time I'm going to try to reach out to the author directly. Much like if I have a problem with, I guess, anybody. You try to reach them directly. Why would you call anyone out publicly? But that's all Twitter is. So Mark Cuban is going back and forth with Ted Cruz. So Cruz sent out a tweet, and you know that he wanted to be Supreme Court Justice, Ted Cruz. He had a failed presidential bid. He was very anti-Trump during the primaries, and then all of a sudden is very pro-Trump. He's Republican. He's actually, in his state, there are 3 NBA teams, which is ironic. And he's got, in theory, when you're a senator, obviously you're always going for re-election, you're always going to raise money. But in theory, what you're doing as senator is you are representing the people of your state. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, you're supposed to represent everybody. When you're running, obviously you run as a Republican or Democrat. But once you're in office, and this is my dream, once you're in office, you represent everyone. So Mark Cuban is talking about what the NBA is doing, and he said the following to Ted Cruz. You are so full of shit. You haven't watched a game of the finals. How would you know what is being said or done? Since when is a desire to end racism an insult to anyone or political? And you don't think using get woke, go broke is a problem? Is that the quote, Coca? Is a problem? I see on the document you put is a P. So get woke, go broke comes from Travis. And what Mark Cuban is trying to say is, listen, this is not at all what we are doing here. It's the exact quote was, and you don't think using get woke, go broke is a partisan insult? Again, this is who you are. Get woke, go broke, to me, I did not view as a partisan insult. So I disagree with Mark Cuban. I viewed it as an ignorance insult, as an insult to intelligence, as a statement by someone who doesn't have facts. I'd like to believe that if Clay Travis were told and were made to understand. I just got an alert that is going to blow your mind, Coca. This is a live show. We do this show. Did you just get that alert? I just got an alert that prosecutors in France are opening an investigation into match fixing at this year's tennis French Open. That's going on right now in a women's doubles match. Right now. That's unbelievable to me. Tennis has some issues. Did you know the French Open was going on right now? The big tournament at Roland Garros? Clay, did you know that was going on? Are you watching any of that? I bet their ratings may be down. What about the U.S. Open? Did you watch that finals? No. I'm worked up, Cuban. I called you Cuban. I'm worked up, Coca. I'm worked up because people are going to use this now, get woke, go broke, as some sort of call to action. And they're trying to get businesses to be afraid to get woke, whatever that means. And that's not the case. You don't need to be afraid of it. This is about a way of being human.